Hey, I'm Rob.
And I'm Shannon. Welcome to Build Up, the show about shows between the shows. We have Peter Facinelli here to talk about breaking and exiting.
This film is a story of a guy who breaks into a woman's home with the intention of robbing her, but then he never leaves.
Yes, that is the plot of this rom-com, but it's also a crime.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the plots of rom-coms involve criminal acts, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a typical thing. So, you know, we want to know if anyone here thinks that they can tell the difference between a rom-com and a crime. What do you guys think? Is anyone down to play this game? Who thinks they know the difference between a rom-com
come on
and a
up.
crime?
Who knows the difference between rom-coms and crimes?
Sir?
Oh,
come
right
on
over
up.
here? Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, no, we got someone first here. Yes,
Yay,
front row.
thank you.
Hey, come on up. Hi.
Hey, what's
Come on
up?
All right.
Oh, yeah, I think you'd be great at it. What's your name? Camila. I love that name. All right, so I'm going to give you just a little description, and you have to say rom-com or crime.
All right, let's give it a try.
All right, first one. A woman marries the man who blinded her. Think about this.
Is it a rom-com or a crime? Could you see it on the movie screen?
I could see it on a movie screen, yeah.
Yeah?
I think that could be a
Wait, I think we want to catch you. Just get into that mic, yeah.
I think it could be a rom-com.
You think it could be a rom-com? It does sound like something you'd see in a rom-com, right? A guy just casually blinds a woman, and then she's like, I can't see, and he's like, oh, here, fall into this Italian restaurant where I give you romantic dinners all the time.
And then they do one of these scenes where it's like, I love you.
And he's like, oh, she's touching me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like love can bring back your eyesight. Yeah, right?
Wow, that really would be a beautiful rom-com, but...
This is actually a crime.
Oh,
That's right.
hear
The
the
cops
sirens?
are here. They're coming.
that's how you know it's a...
Yeah,
that's how
you
know
got
it's
it
a
wrong.
crime.
Now you go to jail. We lock you up for life.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't tell you beforehand that this is a very serious game.
This is high stakes here at Build.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
So no, in 1959, a man hired 3 men to attack his mistress after she dumped him for cheating. He was sentenced to jail for 15 years, but while he was in jail, they corresponded, and then they got married in 1974. What a love story.
That's
what
messed
a
up.
Oh my God,
That's
right?
messed up.
You know,
It's so
they tell you
crazy.
love is blind, and sometimes, you know, you go blind by the hands of a man, and then love happens. It's the order
That's
doesn't matter.
bad, and people are wild.
What do you think he said to her to make her be like, you know what, you took my eyesight for life, but actually that dick is bomb.
No, that's...
No, right? No.
No,
All
just
right.
no. Just
So
no.
I shouldn't blind you in an attempt to date you.
No.
Okay, got it. I just wanted some clarity. All right.
No. Okay, let's do another one. Are you ready for another?
Yes.
All right. A man secretly gives a woman his semen sample for artificial insemination. Secretly. I gotta emphasize that. Secretly.
Yeah, secret.
It's like a movie I've seen already.
Really?
Oh.
What kind of movies are you watching? Dirty.
It sounds like
okay? You
you've
think it's a
gotta-
movie?
Yeah, that sounds...
Well, guess what? You're right. That is a rom-com.
It's a rom-com.
That's a real rom-com.
It is. It is. It's from the movie. The kissing noises indicate that it was a rom-com. I want everyone to acknowledge that. This movie is called Switch,
Yes,
starring Jennifer
there you
Aniston and
go.
Jason Bateman. It's the craziest plot. He gets drunk at her artificial insemination party, spills the semen, and then replaces it secretly
With his own stash of
with
semen
his own stash.
that he got from his body.
Yep, that's
He didn't have
clear.
it in a cooler.
Yo, nope. And then I think she has the baby.
Yeah, and he doesn't tell her until 7 years later. That's criminal. Can we all agree someone putting semen in your body without your consent is criminal? Yeah?
We should.
Yeah?
That should be all.
One
in
person in the
agreement.
back is like, no. I'm like,
Well-
you're in a rom-com, baby.
But if you play some quirky little, like, kind of New Yorky clarinet music, I might be like, oh, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's kind of a good guy, though.
You just have a crush on Jason Bateman.
I do. I love his straight man work. He's such a great, he's like, no, I don't think so. Right?
Yeah, well, that was a great impression.
Bateman.
No, I don't think so.
Everyone
Here's my
here
semen.
knows.
It's a secret. Yeah.
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 Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, I
Good
love
guy.
that movie. I love that movie. All right.
It's great.
Great job. So you're not going to jail this round, but let's see next one. A woman with short-term memory loss caused by trauma is repeatedly tricked into dating a man who secretly uses her condition to gain access to her personal life. Crime or rom-com? Crime or rom-com?
That sounds like a crime to me.
Doesn't that sound like a crime?
Does sound like a crime.
It does sound like a crime.
Movie.
Ooh.
A good movie. You know, I guess most crimes are good movies, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
tough.
true.
That's why people love to commit crimes. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So which one do you think?
You got to pick one.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't go wishy-washy on us. You got to make a decision.
Do I have to? Can it be both?
No, you got to choose.
All right, that's a crime for me.
Ooh.
Okay, well, guess what? You're wrong, because that's a rom-com.
It's a cute
A
rom-com.
rom-com. Yeah. Besitos. That movie is 50 First Dates starring Drew Barrymore and Adam
Oh my
Sandler.
God, how could I forget that?
Yeah, I love it. Some people on the
How could
couches
you
are like,
forget?
I know that
maybe
movie.
have amnesia caused by
Yeah.
trauma. Who knows?
Where am I?
I know,
Yeah.
right? Actually, you've been playing this game for 15 years. We just keep on tricking you. Isn't that criminal?
Totally.
I'm so
Messed up.
sorry.
It's
yeah.
messed up.
But I'll do it.
Yeah, right? I know. It's so sad. I feel like if you had amnesia, imagine like you wake up and you get a brand new chance at life every day, but you still end up dating Adam Sandler.
Oh, hey, wanna go get pancakes? Ooh, yeah, ooh.
Oh my God, Adam Sandler, you're here.
Hey,
Are
did
you
you
doing
fall
a
in love
build?
with me yet? No, I'll try again tomorrow.
That's it. You should get on SNL, dude.
Okay, well, I'll keep auditioning if everyone forgets that I'm funny.
I love Adam Sandler. We all.
Criminal. So good. All right, so you got that one wrong. You are going to jail. Next up, a con man uses Masonic paranoia to strip an aristocrat of her family fortune. Wow.
That sounds so extra like a rom-com.
Yeah, right? You're like,
Right?
rom-com, right? No, real life crime.
Real life crime.
Yep, call the cops again.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
con man, apparently he like conned this whole family over the course of 10 years, and he basically like convinced them that like people were coming for them and all their money and everything, so he started stealing their money and like siphoning it off to like offshore accounts, and basically he made them completely broke, all just by like convincing them that like something was going on with them. He was like, hey, they're out
Yeah.
to get you, and they were like, okay, oh no.
And I think they believed him just because he was like, he had abs. And you know, when
Yeah.
someone has abs, like, you just listen to them.
This is true. It's a fact.
Yeah, right? Like someone was like, oh, Shannon, you're on fire. And I believed them because they had abs. And I was just like on the ground rolling. And I was like, this is so dumb. I'm an idiot.
This is like a side note question, but I think it's relevant. Do the Ninja Turtles, they're like those things on their chest, are those abs or is that their shell?
I
It's like,
think-
it looks
okay.
like abs,
I think those are like, you know, those are like turtle abs, right? Like,
But
I
it-
feel like those guys are ripped.
but it's kind of built into the shell. So like, is it just like a pre-made like, hard shell thing?
I don't know. I think if one of the Ninja Turtles let themselves go, I think those little lines would disappear and they would be like a little soft turtle and you'd be like,
Oh.
do I still want them? Yeah, I do, you know?
A dad bod Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, I can get it. So isn't it funny, like rom-coms and crimes, they're really like very, very close to each other.
You
can't
never
really tell.
know. You got to spend every day wondering which is this going to be.
Well, I think I'm having a meet cute right now.
Oh my God, this is my favorite rom-com couple right
Oh,
here.
really? Hey, Brittany Jones Cooper,
Brittany Jones
Bill's
Cooper.
moderator,
Build.
also host of Build Brunch in the Morning.
Co-host.
Wow.
Co-host. Hey, what's your favorite rom-com?
Have you guys seen The Wedding Date with Deborah Messing?
Yes.
Where she hires a prostitute to go to a wedding with her.
Oh, wait, who plays the prostitute? He's so hot. He's also on
Dylan
Shameless.
or McDermott?
McDermott, yeah.
No.
Dur-
Dermot Mulroney.
Yes. Oh, he's
Yeah.
one of the hottest men to ever exist.
I just related a lot to that premise.
Yeah. I want a man prostitute to take me to a wedding. Who doesn't?
I know.
Right?
It's hotter than any man I'll find in real life, probably.
Yeah.
Or
Well, we'll
Tinder.
work on it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite crime?
Oh, what a weird question. I really like public nudity because I feel like it spreads a lot of joy.
Oh.
So like you can get taken to jail for that, but I think other people get to enjoy your crime also.
Yeah, I love that. I love when a crime is kind of fun, you know? Yeah.
I like fun crimes as well.
Fun
Yeah.
crimes. I think we should commit sometime. We should play,
Ooh.
maybe like after work, go out, have
Sneak
a mixer.
into a pool.
Yeah.
I would love to capture your crime on my phone and put it on the internet.
That'd be great.
Be
All right, well, we'll
so
plan it later, but
amazing.
right now.
We better keep it going.
Yeah, for those who are just tuning in, this has been Build Up, the show about shows between the shows. But to continue the fun, head to BuildSeries.com to see Peter Facinelli talk about breaking and exiting with Brittany Jones Cooper.
Stay tuned.
Woo!
Welcome to Bill. Thanks so much. I'm your host, Brittany Jones Cooper. In addition to his numerous film credits in front of the screen, Peter Facinelli makes his feature directorial debut on Breaking and Exiting, a film about a house thief who gets more than he bargains for when he runs into the home's owner. But before we bring out Peter, let's check out a clip.
Too easy. Every day, we make decisions. Decisions that change our path ever so slightly. Then there's the other decisions. Ah! Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know I'm robbing you right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Are you trying to kill yourself?
Mm-hmm. Can you close the door on your way up? Why didn't you just call the cops and leave?
I don't know what the protocol is after almost dying.
It's selfish of you to make me stay.
I guess I'm selfish then. I don't think you want to do this.
This is my life, Harry!
So what's the meaning of all this then? Daisy!
Everybody put your hands together for Peter Facinelli.
Thank you, thank you. That was really special right now because I was watching the audience while they were watching that, so I never got to see like an audience watching the trailer for it. So it's kind of nice to see a couple of chuckles and watching people's faces watch the project.
I mean, it must be crazy to see this baby that you've been working on for so long kind of hit and people get to see it.
Yeah, it feels now it's complete and we hand it over to an audience. So I'm excited for people to watch it.
Really quick, we are right by NYU, and you went to NYU.
Yeah.
So it is sort of like, how fun is it to, like, that's where you started your career, and here you are, like, taking on this new challenge. Like, what would NYU Peter think about what you're doing right now?
I mean, I'm so grateful to NYU just because I was just a kid from Queens who, had a dream of acting, and I knew nobody in the business. My parents were both from Italy, so telling them I wanted to be an actor was like saying I wanted to go to Mars. I remember when I told them, they laughed, actually. They were laughing at me. And so I never mentioned it. I was like 12 or 13. I saw Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and I was like, I want to do that. And they kind of like laughed at me. So I never mentioned it again until I was in college. And I was studying pre-law because when I told them, when they said, what do you want to be, as I was getting older, I said a lawyer because they were like, ooh, a lawyer. So, but when I got to college, I took an acting 101 class. I'd never done theater. I never was on stage before, but I had so much fun with it. And then I met a man who was a manager, and I was taking his acting classes. And then he said, if you want to really pursue this, you should transfer into NYU and study it, And so he helped me transfer into NYU, and I did. And my parents said, well, why do you want to go to NYU and study acting? And I said, well, as a lawyer, you need to get up in front of people. I'm very shy. And so they kind of bought it.
That's super sly.
Yeah. And then I went to NYU, and then I started working right out of that. So I'm very fortunate to have been working. It's like 25 years now.
Yeah, you have been working in mainly in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So what sort of sparked this interest to take on directing?
Well, I've always been fascinated with directing and always wanted to direct. But it's really hard to break into because, it's for someone to give you all that money and say, hey, we trust that you're going to be able to put this together. Usually you have to build someone's confidence. And so you have to do shorts and you do music videos. And then when you get to a certain place, then someone comes along and says, okay. But with this, it kind of just fell in my lap, honestly. I knew Jordan and who wrote it, and Jordan Hinson, who also was the lead. And she was doing the project, and I had read it, and it was about a week to filming, and their director fell out, and he was a first-time director as well, and so I heard she said, "Well, I think it's gonna all fall apart," And I said, "I wonder if they'd let me direct it," and so I met with the financiers and the producers. I don't know if they were just desperate or, or if I wowed them with my vision. But either way, I'm incredibly grateful I had the opportunity to do it. So.
Yeah, and take me through your process. Obviously this is a heavy topic in some ways. Well, actually, first give them a little breakdown about what the storyline is, just before we get into that.
So Breaking and Exiting is about this thief played by Milo Gibson. Milo is kind of this millennial who's selfish and self-indulged, and he robs homes. That's what he does for a living. And he's carefree about it. He's like, I have the best job, you know? And so he ends up breaking into this girl's house who is played by Jordan Hinson. And he meets her in the bathroom, and she's in the bathtub, and he gets more freaked out than she does. And he's like, you know, I wonder why. And then he sees a pill bottle there that's empty, and he realizes she's trying to kill herself and commit suicide. And so, you know, he ends up staying with her to make sure she doesn't kill herself because he's afraid to leave her alone. And unknowingly, the first rule is suicide prevention, or one of the rules of suicide prevention is don't leave the person alone. So unknowingly, he does that, you know, more out of, I think, curiosity and some concern. And then they end up kind of saving each other. You know, she finds out that she has worth and she has a future and realizes that, you know, life is worth living. And he becomes a lot less selfish. And so it's not really a damsel in distress kind of movie. It's really a movie where these two people find each other and save each other, which I really loved that storyline. At the core of it, it's a love story, but the bigger umbrella is, you know, life decisions. You know, making good choices in life, and he makes really bad choices, and his life is really crappy, and she's about to make the worst decision of her life, which is to end it. You know, so you know, once I found that overall arc, then I felt like the movie. In the editing room, then I felt like the movie had a real solid purpose, and the love story fell underneath that. And
did you face any obstacles because it is about such a heavy topic?
Yeah.
But then you said it's also a love story and it's a comedy.
Yeah.
So how did you sort of toe that line to make sure you did both of those important stories, you know, justice?
Yeah, it was a very fine line to thread. You know, because if you go too comical, then it could appear that you're making fun of suicide, and that was not my intention at all. And if I went too heavy, then it becomes a depressing drama. So, you know, I think that a lot of the comedy moments come out of the banter between the two of them, like this Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart kind of banter, which was in the writing. But, you know, giving it a tone of, you know, giving it the right tone was very important to me to make sure that it was something that you could kind of laugh at, but also had an important subject matter. Look, like I said, at the core of it is a love story, but I love this movie because it's a great talking point, you know, point for suicide prevention, you know, which is very timely of what's going on right now. So suicide is such a hard topic to talk about because it's heavy. And so if you could go to a movie like this and afterwards kind of talk about it and see that, hey, you know, even though life gets bad sometimes or you feel worthless, she finds her worth in a stranger, you know, and it could turn around like that. So, and if you end it, you never have a possibility of it getting better, and there's always hope.
Yeah, Milo's character does a really great job at like subtly showing her all the things that are worth living for.
Yeah.
And he does it in a way that's not aggressive. It's just sort of like little reminders.
Unknowingly, too,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting because I don't think he's like there to be like the knight in shining armor. It's just he's just himself, which is he loves life, you know, and she kind of sees that through him.
So this is the first film you're directing. I'm sure you were really excited going in. Were there any moments where you were like, ah, shit? Or like any frustrating sort of moments like that?
You know, you have those moments all the time. I mean, like I said, the movie fell into my lap, and I literally had 5 or 6 days before we started shooting. So to have 5 or 6 days worth of pre-production prep was, you know, a lot to take on because the next day, the lead of the film actually, there was another lead before Milo. He fell out. So, and I knew him. He was a friend of mine. So I called him. I said, "Hey, guess what? I'm directing the movie that you're doing, Breaking and Exiting." He said, "Oh, I was gonna call him today. I gotta drop out of that. I got another gig." And I was like, "You sure it wasn't because I'm directing?" You know? But no, he's a really sweet guy. He's a friend of mine. He dropped out, so I was kind of like, well, geez, we're 5 days away. What do we do? And so I put the script out to a couple of friends of mine, and then my manager at the time represented Milo, and I sat down and had lunch with him. And then the next day I had champagne problems because all 3 of the people who wanted to do it that I gave it to, and I had to make a choice. And, you know, Milo had only done one small scene in his dad's movie. What was the war movie? Help me out, guys.
Mel Gibson is
Mel
his dad,
Gibson,
by the
the
way, if you guys
Ridge.
couldn't see that resemblance.
No? What? Yes. What is it? Hacksaw Ridge. Yeah, so he had done like a small scene in Hacksaw Ridge. And I hadn't even seen that, but I sat down with him and I thought, you know what? He has all the qualities to play this character that I'm looking for. And I liked the idea of having a fresh face. So I went with Milo, and I thought, well, listen, I've been acting for 25 years. I can help him to act, you know? So I rolled the dice, but he was so great, and you're going to see a lot more of Milo Gibson because he's already done 4 more films after, you know, this one. So you'll definitely see more of him.
Yeah, totally. He nails it. And I was watching the film, and there was something really familiar about him. And then I was like, oh, his dad is Mel. Because he does give you that like humor side of Mel. You know,
Yeah.
The way he's
He
dancing
has
and moving.
certain mannerisms that Mel has. It's kind of fun at points. I felt like I was directing like a young Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
He has certain mannerisms that Mel has.
And their chemistry is really, really great. So what was it like directing them? You know, as an actor, how did that change your approach?
Well, look, I always love working with directors that build your confidence because as an actor, it's a very vulnerable place to be in. So you're sitting there and you're bearing your emotions to people, you know? And some directors will come over and they'll like give you a direction that makes fun of one of your choices or what you're doing, and then you just kind of lock up and you're afraid to like try anything because you don't want to be like admonished or scolded. So as an actor, I wanted them to feel really comfortable that they could be free, you know, and to try stuff. And I would be their safety net to catch them if it was, you know, when I gave notes, I was very gentle about it. And also I understand how to talk to actors because sometimes directors will come in, they'll give you like what they call an end result kind of, you know, direction. And actors like it when you speak in verbs. Give them something to do, you know, because you're doing, you know. And if they can do something and make it their own, then it's way more better than something that you could have told them to do, you know? So, you know, but what I did do in those first 5 days, I took them to the sets and I blocked out almost every scene because as a director, I've worked with directors that come in and they're like, all right, so let's see, you sit there. No, you stand there. No, you sit there. Let's just try it. And then, okay, well, you know what? Why don't you sit over here instead? And they're like trying to figure it out, and you're just like, we're wasting so much time because they didn't do their homework. So for me, I made sure that I did my homework and I knew what I wanted and what I wanted to capture. And by blocking it out, I knew where they were all going to be, so I could figure out my shot list the night before, and then I come in and talk to the director of photography and tell him what I was thinking. Sometimes you tweak stuff. And also, I want to give actors their freedom, so, you know, if they feel like changing it, maybe they don't want to sit there, they don't want to sit here, then we tweak it. But at least you always have to have a game plan. And so when I worked with directors that have a game plan, it makes it so much easier because everybody knows what they're doing instead of just trying to figure it out on the day.
What did you find out about yourself directing? Because it sounds like you're very organized in particular.
Yeah.
Is that something, are you like that in your everyday life? Or you're like, oh, I have to kind of adopt these new things to get this job done?
No, I mean, look, I don't think I'm messy, but I wouldn't say I'm super organized either. But what I did realize is, like, I've been on sets for 25 years, so I was very comfortable on set, you know, because I've collaborated with directors and other actors and costume designers and as an actor myself. So sitting there as a director, I was collaborating with all these people. It was very familiar to me. I was actually surprised I knew more than I thought I knew, you know. I mean, we had very limited tools and money to make the movie. It was very small, independent, you know, financing. But you play with what you got. So I did kind of, you know, I was very comfortable on set. I think what I found out when I got into the editing room, it felt very lonely there, because if you can imagine, you're working with all these people on set every day, and we shot the whole movie in like 13 days, and then when I got in the editing room, it was just me and this one guy, and it's a really dark room, and you're there for like 10 hours, and your eyes are starting to like see things, and then you'll try stuff that you think you're like is incredibly genius because you're just overly tired, and you'll be like, oh my God, that was so great, and then you come back the next morning, you watch, you're like, what the hell was I thinking? That's horrible. I gotta start over. But also you have to make decisions. Maybe that's what I learned, like just to trust your gut. I trusted my gut with Milo when I cast him. When you're in the editing room, you're like, I could do it that way, or I could do it that way, or I could do it that way. And they're all right and they're all good, but which way do you go, So, and there's nobody telling you what to do. And you have one guy there that, gives his opinion and you trust him. But ultimately it's up to you, I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand the responsibility that a director has when it's every frame of that movie you're deciding on the pacing of the scenes, the cuts. You're working with the editor, but maybe you're like, let's go from a wide to close-ups here because it feels too spread out in this, and maybe the pacing's not working, so you got to like shorten the scenes. But music-wise, you're sitting there picking out music, and I remember there was one section. It was like a kind of a montage moment. And I knew in my head when I was shooting it that I was going to play this upbeat music for it. And then I was in the editing room. We were going through the library of music that we had. And he hit the wrong button. And this like slow ballady song came on. And he was like, oh, sorry. I was like, no, wait. And I thought, oh, that's it. That's the one. And it was a complete opposite of what I thought I would use. So, in the editing room, you have to stay open to what the movie wants to be. And you have to not fight against it, I think. Because in the editing room, it's like you might have ideas, but when it's trying to tell you it wants to be something else, you have to kind of just go with that. They say there's 3 movies that you make. There's the script that you write, and then there's the script that you shoot, and then there's the final edited movie. And those are all can be all completely different, And the movie's really made in the editing room. I could have made 5 different versions of this movie in the editing room.
Well, I know you had to make a lot of tough decisions, but one decision that I really stand behind is the choice to put a little headshot from your character in Twilight on a wall. I caught that.
You caught that?
Yeah.
Well, I think the production designer did that as a joke, and I was like, you can keep it up there. It's a little girl's room, so it was kind of cute. So I was like, I got to be in the movie. So I was kind of jealous at times because I was like, I wish I was playing over there on that side, because I love acting. So it's like I was like, they were having all the fun. But I had so much fun on the other side and like collaborating. And as an actor, you come in, you work like 2 minutes at a time. You'll do a scene, and then you wait. And then you'll do, they'll move the cameras around, and you'll shoot another bit of it, and then you wait. But as a director, you're always, always, always thinking, moving, So I love that part because there's no downtime ever. And I think for, my directorial debut, I thought, I don't want to have the responsibility of having to look, have me in the movie and focus on my performance and the movies. I just wanted to be able to tell a good story, so I chose not to be in it at all. I mean, maybe in the future I would like to be in it, so maybe I'll start the next one. I'm looking to direct a movie in September that I wrote, and I was like, I gotta put a part in it for me because they were having too much fun on the last one. I want to be in it. But I didn't. Even on this one, I didn't want to take on the lead. Maybe I'll gradually get there where I could direct myself in a lead.
I have sort of an unrelated question. I was looking through your Instagram and I saw that you have a daughter who's 21.
Yeah.
Are any of your girls gonna go into acting, or do you see that in them?
My oldest studied at NYU as well.
Yeah.
She actually studied at the same place, the Atlantic Theater Company that I went to at NYU, and some of the same teachers are there, which was kind of fun. Yeah.
How fun would that be to direct her one day?
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah.
I'd love that. She has auditions sometimes, and I'll go in and I'll put her on tape for them, and I'll over-direct her because I'm like the dad that that's watching their kid play soccer. It's just like, but she loves when I work with her. So it's a lot of fun.
So you've directed one movie.
Yeah.
Good. What else do we have going on for you? Are you going to direct more?
Yeah, the one in September I'm going to direct. That one I wrote, and I'll play a part in it as well. And that one's it's kind of a Hitchcock thriller. It's about 2 parents who go to the woods on an RV park trip, and their daughter goes missing. So it's kind of a whodunit, you know.
Those are very popular these days.
Yeah, it's way different than the romantic dramedy. It's completely different. But you know, that's what I love about storytelling. It's like I love different genres. As an actor, I've done a lot of different genres. There's no one space that I've kind of been like, oh, this is where I want to live, like in the romantic comedy world or the dramatic world. I've done comedy, drama, romantic comedies, fantasy films, sci-fi, like so. Those are all backdrops to what the story is. So I like changing the backdrops because it's more fun that way, you know?
Absolutely, why not? Well, I think we do have a couple questions in the audience before we get out of here. Who do you have first?
Hi. I'm wondering, you've acted and you've directed. Are there any other parts of the entertainment, like movie industry, that you want to get involved with?
Well, yeah, I love storytelling, so... I mean, they're all different forms of storytelling. So I write as well. I've had stuff that written and produced. I wrote a novel. I co-created a comic book. They're all just ways of telling stories. And so as a writer, it's kind of fun because you get to create the world. So you put pen to paper and you create this world, and it's like you're playing God. So you're like, Johnny gets hit by a bus. Oh, wait, I like Johnny. Johnny nearly gets hit by a bus, And then when you put pen to paper and it gets produced, then it's so gratifying because you put all these people to work. So I remember the first thing I produced that I wrote that I got produced, and I didn't act in it, I just produced it. And I went to set, and there was 100 people there, and they were making these sets that I had in my mind, and there was a cameraman and all the crew members, and I was like, this... putting pen to paper gave all these jobs to people, and that's so satisfying. And then, when I produce, I put people together to help get a project made. So you're sitting there, it's like putting a football team together of like really solid players, so you can go out there and win. And then when you're acting, you're telling the story through your character. So you go there and you're one part of like a bigger cog. And then as a director now, film and television is really a director's medium, because as an actor, you can do it several takes, and maybe the director likes this take, but the lighting's bad, or he likes this take because the lighting's good, but your performance isn't good. So you have very little control as to how they put it together. And sometimes as an actor, you're like, wow, I had such a great, time on that movie, and we got such great pieces, and then you watch the movie, and you're like, what happened? Because it's not your fault. Like, whatever they put together is their vision of it. But as a director, you get to tell that story visually, So I always look at it like, if I had to make an analysis, it's like building a house. And as a director, you're the general contractor. So you have the architect plans, which is the writer, the script. And then you have, you're fielding out all the, this is the plumber. He's going to do the plumbing. And he's going to do the concrete work. And he's going to do the woodwork and the framing. And that's your costume designers and your DP. And those are, the cast. And then you get in the editing room and you have all the lumber and you got to put it together, and sometimes you have to go off the architectural plans because it's not quite what is happening in reality, and but you got to have the lumber, So what was great was when I was in the editing room, I never was like, oh man, I didn't get that piece that I wanted, or I have to cut around that because I didn't have that. I always got what I wanted, but it was like, how do I put it together in a way that tells the story the best way? And then you hope it's the best way, and you give it to the audience.
And it becomes breaking and editing. Yeah. One more question? Yeah.
So my question is, so you're in film and TV. So what was the transition like going from that to directing, and why did you choose that?
Well, I think I've always been accused of directing sometimes by directors, because I'll be like, oh, maybe you should put the camera over there. Like, that's not your job, sorry. Or sometimes, one time I was like, it'd be a cool shot is if you put it in this mirror, and then the director was like, I really like that, I'm taking credit for it. And I was like, we can take credit for it, I'm happy to, so being on set is a very fine line because you're working with actors and you're collaborating with directors, and it's a very collaborative space as an actor. So I've always been like, but it's always been the director's final say, So sometimes you're like, I kind of want to play it like this, and the director's like, I'd like this. Well, we'll do it both ways, but in the editing room, he's going to pick his way, So I had a director I worked with, and he'd be like, "We'll shoot it both ways. We'll shoot it both ways." So at the end of the wrap, as a joke, I got him a picture of a shirt with his face on it, and I said, "I'm going to shoot you both ways." So he laughed, but with a gun on the side. So just transitioning into directing, like, it allows me to be able to be more in control of telling the story and collaborating even more so with the people that I already love to collaborate with. And, you know, I'm not going to hang up my helmet anytime soon. I love acting, and I love collaborating with other directors and actors and writers. So, but I'm at a point in my life where I want to be able to, you know, tell stories that I want to tell too. It's funny, when I was a kid, my dad would always tell me bedtime stories, you know. And it was about animals most of the time, and he was very, you know, all over the place. But I loved his stories. It didn't matter what they were about. I just loved the stories. And after every story, he would say, "You like that story?" And every single time I said, "That was the best story you ever told me." I just loved hearing these stories, and now I love being able to share the stories with you. So I really hope you like this story, because we worked hard on it. We didn't, like I said, we didn't have a lot of time, we didn't have a lot of money, but it was made with a lot of love. So I'm proud of it.
You can feel that. And one last question before we go.
Hi, this is going to be an online question.
Yeah.
Jodie Potter would like to know, are you excited to see the reactions to the film?
Yes. Excited and also a little terrifying, because, you know, as an actor, you go to a premiere, you go to, you know, see the movie with an audience or a screening, and you think, okay, you're very nervous because you're hoping that your performance comes off the way you want it, and you take responsibility for your performance. This, I take responsibility for every performance, you know, so it's a lot more weight to carry. But I'm proud of it. So, but it is a little like when you're a kid and you make a piece of art and you're like, do you guys like it? And you're hoping people aren't like throwing it in the trash, you know? So what was really special, like I said when I started the interview, was watching your guys' faces, just watching the teaser. Because if I made you guys feel anything, laugh, smile, if you walk away with anything and can forget about your life for the hour and a half that this movie's playing, I feel like I've done my job, you know? So just being able to move you with emotions and through the story.
Well, I definitely was moved when I watched Breaking and Exiting, and you guys will have the opportunity to see it. It's in select theaters on August 17th.
Thank you.
Give it up for Peter Facinelli.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.